Flash Hulk is one of the stronger combos inside this format, and there's a lot of possible creativity you can do with this thing. In this video, we're going to be looking at some Hulk tecks. We're going to begin with first looking at a new Breakfast Hulk line. Second, we're going to be looking at my new favorite Najeela Hulk. Third, we're going to be looking at a new Temur Hulk line. And fourth, we're going to look at some new pathways that Blood Pod, no blue whatsoever, could actually build a Hulk deck.
What Flash Hulk actually does is assemble a lot of different possible combos. It's a combo assembler. Flash will put a creature card into play for only 2 mana at instant speed and then kill it, unless you pay its mana cost -2, which was the original idea behind the thing. What Hulk does is, when this thing dies, you will search your deck for a total of converted mana cost 6 of creatures and put them directly into play. This is where you can be very creative. Let's begin with the new Breakfast Hulk line. Here we have Cephalid Illusionist, Nomad's Encore, Blood Artist, and a sack outlet, Carrion Feeder. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now here is the trick. Activate Nomad's Encore, target Cephalid Illusionist. Whenever this becomes a target of spell or ability, put the top 3 cards of your library into your graveyard. Now put your entire deck into your graveyard. This will put Narcomoebia in play, but also Kozilek, the Butcher of Truth, from your deck into your graveyard, or also maybe Gaia's Blessing. You could also have Ulamog for more security. Now what you do in response to this trigger is sacrifice Narcomoebia to Carrion Feeder. This will trigger Blood Artist and deal 1 loss of life to an opponent, and you will gain a life. This will basically now just loop forever. It's not a 4 horsemen, it's actually consistent, because what you do is that you say, I will put my entire deck into my grave, this comes in, trigger this, I sacrifice this to this and trigger this. This Hulk line also has a lot of protection. If someone were to, let's say, try to exile this or this, you could simply cast one of these two with its flashback cost from your graveyard and shuffle the targets back into your grave and protect them, and then just keep repeating the loop once more. Also, this combo is pretty immune to spot removal such as Swords to Plowshare. If anyone were to cast Swords to Plowshare targeting Blood Artist, all you need to do is activate this ability and this will remain on the stack forever. There is a downside to this Hulk line. You can no longer use Hermit Druid or this 2-card combo, only these 2 together, to put your entire deck into your graveyard. That is just going to loop it without any form of action. In the end, you gain some, you lose some. Let's proceed to my new favorite Hulk line for Najeela, and you're gonna see why this is interesting for Najeela pretty soon. So when this happens, you will find Carrion Feeder and Body Double, a total of 6. Body Double becomes a copy of Protean Hulk from your graveyard, you sacrifice it to Carrion Feeder and find Metallic, Mimic, and Murderous Redcap. Here is the loop. When this comes into play, say Goblin. Then sacrifice Murderous Redcap to Carrion Feeder. It will now come back with a -1/-1 counter. But this will also give it a +1/+1 counter, meaning it's going to net itself. When there's a -1 counter and a +1/+1 counter on a creature, they will both disappear. This means that this guy is immortal and you have infinite damage. Why I like this combo inside Najeela is because you could actually say Warrior on the Metallic Mimic, meaning that every little token that Najeela produce will come into play with an extra +1/+1 counter. Pretty cute. That means that Metallic Mimic is not a dead card inside our deck. It could be a secondary backup plan to an overrun strategy with your warrior boss. I also like how Body Double is a bit of an upgrade compared to Karmic Guide. Body Double can become any copy of a creature in any graveyard, and this will only target stuff inside your graveyard. So if you have this in your hand and for some reason an opponent has a very juicy creature target, then this could become that creature. Also, 1 blue mana compared to 2 white mana. That is actually kind of huge, because it's very tricky to cast something for double of the same color when you're trying to build this kind of color identity on your mana base. I would like to mention that there is an alternative to Metallic Mimic, which is the mono white Anafensa that bolster whenever a creature comes into play. However, I want to go with Metallic Mimic because double white is really tricky, and it's kind of cute how Metallic Mimic synergizes with the warrior token production. Now let's look at a Temur Hulk line, a very new one, pretty interesting and cool. This is something for maybe Thrasius and Chrome. Now when this happens, you will find Torch Courier, which can be sacrificed to give something haste, costs 1. Incubation Druid, that costs 2. And then finally the Graft Mage for free. Now this comes into play with 2+1/+1 counters, and it can move a +1/+1 counter onto another creature that comes into play whenever a creature comes into play. Let's move one of those counters onto Incubation Druid. This means that now Incubation Druid has an +1/+1 counter on it, which means it will tap for 3 mana. But with Graft Mage, we can also untap a creature by paying 2 mana, one have to be blue however. Then we sacrifice the Torch Courier to give Incubation haste. Now tap it, untap it, infinite mana, and then win the game with Thrasius, somehow. Finally, a Hulk line inside a deck that doesn't contain blue whatsoever. For example, Tana and Tymna in Blood Pod. With Natural Order, we can sacrifice a small green creature like this Boreal Druid, a mana dork, and then find a big green creature from our deck and put it directly into play. It is not a 1-card combo, it's a 1.5 card combo, because you need whatever kill spell you could possibly think of. Go for the Throat or Slaughter Pact will do the job, just kill your big Hulk. We will now find Carrion Feeder for 1 and Karmic Guide for 5, grand total of 6. This will bring back Protean Hulk when this ETBs. Now sacrifice Protean Hulk to Carrion Feeder and find Kiki-Yiki. So here's the combo, here's the assemblance. This is now the final trick. Activate Kiki-Yiki, target this thing. In response to this ability, sacrifice Kiki-Yiki to Carrion Feeder. Kiki-Yiki goes to the grave. The tokens enters play. It will now trigger and return a creature card from our graveyard back into play. Let's return Kiki-Yiki. Loop. We will now have infinite 2/2 flying Karmic Guides, spirits that's going to be attacking all opponents' face and win the game. However, there are more commanders that could perform this cutesy trick, like Maraf, Will of the Wild, Naya Colors. But I'm gonna leave it to you and your own creativity to figure out that specific Hulk line. Feel free to leave such a Hulk line in the comments below. Thanks for watching guys, and take care. I will see you in the next video.